go right here with Austin first, starting off. We're on the right. You're on the right.
Justin, this one looked like the most physical game you guys have played so far, and took a little while to get your footing. What made the difference for you guys once the ball started rolling your way?
Really just kind of getting in the rhythm. I think we were doing pretty good at the beginning, but it would be like one play, it would be a big loss. So I think that kind of affected the overall drive. But I think in the second quarter we kind of got us together and we played well.
Front row, Tim.
Yeah, Justin, two questions. Number one, what will this win do for this team, you think, headed forward? You said that it could be getting better week by week. What's your sense of where you guys are now, 38-7?
I think the team definitely has more confidence now, but we can't get complacent at all. We have to keep working because we know there can be 1 week where we can slip up, and of course, nobody wants that to happen. So we have to just keep on rolling and just keep on practicing tough.
The left.
How beat up did you get today? I mean, you had to go in the tent once even.
Yeah, it was just on that touchdown. I kind of landed on my back a little bit, but I should be good.
To the left, Bill.
Yeah. Justin, how did the weather affect things? And what kind of, I don't know if statement is something you guys are trying to make, but what kind of statement was this?
The weather affected, I think, more in the first quarter, so we just had to get adjusted to that a little bit. But overall, I think we handled the weather well towards the second quarter and the rest of the game. So that was kind of a big thing. Coach wanted to focus on just the weather and just playing tough through it and just kind of getting through it because they had to play through it too. So and then what was the second part? Of course, every time we play, we want to make a statement. Of course, teams hear that we're tough. They hear that we're good, but we want to prove it and go out there on the field and just prove it to them. So I think the team played well on defense, offense, and also special teams.
Back to the front row, Clay.
Yeah, but Justin, to dominate the number one defense in the country like that, they were giving up 199. I think you went 431 yardage. Impress you? I mean, was there something here that you hadn't seen from your team?
No, not really. I think, in all honesty, we could have put up 50. I think if the weather was different, I think we could have threw the ball more, and I think we could have put up way more points than we did. But I'm just overall glad we got the win, and I'm just glad that we're 8-0.
To the left, Bill.
Justin, I know when you're in practice, you have a non-contact jersey on, but can you put us in the shoes of a quarterback who has to stare down Chase Young and what that's like?
Yeah, I just feel bad for him, to be honest. I mean, because literally Chase in practice, he can get back there pretty much whenever he wants. So Chase is a great player. Everybody knows that. He's probably the best defensive player in the country. So I'm just glad he's on my team.
Second row, Steve.
Yeah, I want to ask you about your relationship here with Chris Olave. He seems to be, everybody knew about him at the end of last year, but he seems to really be coming on and made a couple huge plays for you guys today. Just what are you guys developing between you and he?
Yeah, Chris is a hard worker. I mean, he does everything right on and off the field. He's one of the hardest workers I've seen. He's always doing the right things, never doing anything wrong. He's a great leader, and I think he just puts his head down and work, really.
Was the first touchdown the same as the Northwestern play last week, or was it a little bit different?
It was a little bit different, but it was kind of similar.
Second row to the left, Dan.
Justin, you were asked about Chris, you were asked about Chase. J.K. obviously had a really big game today, too. It seemed like just your guys' star players really stepped up to the plate when it needed to today. Is there something to that when you're in a big game like this, guys step up and really have those career performances?
Yeah, Coach Day was telling us early in the week, big-time players make plays in big-time games. So I think all the players, all the big-time players on the team definitely stepped up and played a great game today.
A couple more to the left, Doug.
Justin, they came out and scored to start the second half. Can you tell us what it felt like going back on the field, knowing you guys as an offense kind of needed to answer there and take the momentum back?
I kind of think our motto as an offense is nobody can stop us except us. So we knew what we had to do out there. We just had to go out there and actually execute it. So we weren't worried at all. We just had to go out there and execute the play and just everybody do their job.
Back right, Tony.
Justin, along those lines, did anybody say anything after that touchdown, or because you guys, it was four straight drives?
We didn't really think about it. We just kept our heads straight and just went on the field and just played our game.
What does that say about you guys that it doesn't need to be said?
I just feel like the team, we react well to adversity. So just when stuff doesn't go our way, Coach tells us all the time that we're going to get punched in the face, but it's really how you react to getting punched in the face, and what you do after that kind of determines the game.
And last question to the left, Rob.
Jonathan Taylor came in with the Heisman hype, but J.K., did you really kind of outran him today? Did you get a sense that that was going to happen, that it was a personal thing for J.K.?
I mean, we were messing with J.K. the whole week, talking about the best Big Ten running backs coming to play us at the shoe. So J.K. He's a great running back, of course, and I think he played very well today in the passing game and the running game also. So he was a big help into winning this game.
Is that the hardest you've seen him run?
I mean, he runs hard every game, so I mean, you can't really compare him to one game, but yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Just overall, thoughts on the game. I thought that it was going to be a tough game. I thought that, noon kick, a little cooler out, the rain, the whole thing. I thought, it played to Wisconsin a little bit more. They're an under center, ball control team, and so we had to be tough. We had to come out and play gritty, and we knew it was going to be like this. And I thought that the kids answered it. I thought the defense played really, really well in the first half, and they kept giving us at-bats. I thought Justin Fields was really gritty early on, had to run the ball, made some big plays, got the big throw at the end of the half. He played a gritty game. He got knocked around in there, played really good. I thought our offensive line and J.K. played really good in the second half. And J.K. ran with an edge all day. I think he's the best running back in the country. But then when you go to the other side of the ball and you look what our defense did, some great players over there, but led by Chase. And his impact was felt throughout the game. And he's probably the most dominant player in all of college football right now. And his impact in a game like this goes to show you his versatility. This was not just a passing game where you go after the quarterback. He had to play tough and gritty inside, but it was the whole defensive line that controlled the game. And hats off to the whole coaching staff, everybody involved, for getting these guys ready to play a tough game, and it was a big win for our program.
We'll open up with questions. Front row right, Austin.
Ryan, before the game, you looked about as fired up as maybe you've been for any game so far. Was that a conscious effort to say this game is going to be different? Did you just get caught up in the emotion today? Did you feel like it was different than any of the others so far?
Yeah, I think it maybe was a little different. Yeah, I mean, this is they were 13th, in the country coming in, but we knew they were a very, very good team, and they were coming off a loss, and it was raining. It was, it was all those things combined, and it was one of those games where, you felt like it was getting set up where now all of a sudden you're in it in the fourth quarter and it's going to be a hard game. We knew that, and so we talked to our team about it. We challenged them, and big-time players step up in big-time games, and a lot of big-time players did. I mean, when you look at our real guys, they played really good in this game.
Over to the left, Bill.
Right, you guys started slow on offense. Justin didn't even throw a pass till I think the last minute of the first quarter. Was that a function of the rain and just didn't want to, have a turnover or something kind of crazy happen at the beginning?
Yes, absolutely. It was raining sideways. It was hard early on. I mean, it was a mess out there. And in a game like this, you can't be foolish. You can't take chances early in the game. Our defense is playing good, and you can't let your ego get in the way. And try not to do that. Even. That first drive, it's third and whatever, we just hand the ball off and punt. Trust me, that's harder for me to do than anybody in the country. I hate doing that, but I just knew that you can't all of a sudden throw an interception. Now, you're putting yourself behind the eight ball. And so we hung in there. We knew it was going to be that way. And then the rain kind of let up a little bit, and we were able to kind of get the pass game going, which opened things up for us.
And just one question. Obviously, first 7 games were blowouts. You knew this would be a test. What did you learn about your team today that maybe you couldn't have in the first 7 games?
How tough and gritty we can play. This just goes to show you the potential and how tough we can be. Because I think we're athletic. I think we're talented. But when you come into a game like this and play this hard against this kind of a defense, coming off a loss for them in this type of environment to win like we did, I think it goes to show you how tough we are and that we have the capability to play with anybody in the country.
Over to the right, front row, Tim.
Yeah, Ryan, Justin Fields is in here, and he said the players kind of teased, whatever you want to call it. J.K. Dobbins challenged him this week. The number 1 running back in the Big Ten was coming in. And I'm just wondering, how much did you challenge the offensive line and J.K. too to step up?
Well, we challenged them all week. We have nothing but respect for Wisconsin. I think Paul does as good a job as anybody in the country, and Coach Leonard on defense does a tremendous job. I mean, it was hard, but yeah, I mean they got a lot of pride, our guys, and J.K. ran with a chip on his shoulder. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is a wonderful back, but he felt like he wanted to be the best running back in the game today, and it had a lot to do with the way he ran and how he ran, but it also had to do with our offensive line, had to do with our defense giving them a chance to get back on the field. but it was also a challenge for our defensive line against that offensive line and that running back and the whole defense. And I thought that whole defensive staff did a tremendous job, led by Jeff and Greg and Larry and Al Washington and Matt Barnes. Everybody over there all week did a great job, and the scout team. And so many things have to go into it for something like this to happen, and just proud of the way those guys performed.
Over to the left, Doug.
Ryan, it's probably unfair for me to ask this, and we'll stop asking about this eventually, but you took over for a coaching legend in Urban Meyer. He's in the stadium today doing TV. You do a post-game interview with him. He said a million times how happy he is that you were the guy to take over for him. But you guys want to win every game, but you guys put that on with the old coach standing there in the corner. What was that like when you were over there with Urban, and just what do you think of that whole thing?
That was a really cool moment for me. I owe everything to he and to Shelley and Nina and I for the opportunity that he gave me and my family to be here, and just want to make him proud and go out there and play really, really hard, really, really tough, and represent the Buckeyes the way that he did when he was here. And boy, it's hard to follow up a guy who is one of the best college football coaches in the history of the game, just is. But try not to worry about that and try to just make everybody in Buckeye Nation and obviously Coach Meyer proud.
Front row right, Clay.
You've been able to sort of keep a lid on this team week by week. That's all we think about. How are you going to do that now that they just, handled the number one defense in the country by 31 points?
Well, I think you challenge them by saying, how tough are you? Because I think these guys are competitive and they like challenges. And if you are as tough as you think you are, you say you are, or we're as good as we think we are, then we don't get distracted by anybody, and we just get locked in one game at a time, 1 week at a time. And if we let all the other noise get into our head, then we put that at risk, and we can't do that.
Noise like, who's your Heisman candidate?
Yeah, all those things. You start looking ahead into rankings and where are we going to be and all that. If you start looking at all that, you're going to get yourself in trouble. And we have not done that this year, and we cannot do that moving forward.
Over to the left, Bill.
Ryan, all the years you've been coaching football, multiple levels, how would you evaluate the way that Chase gets off the ball, just that one element of his game?
Yeah, the best I've been around. I mean, I got a chance to see Nick Bosa last year, and I coached in the NFL and saw some really good players in different times, but he's as good as I've been around, again, because he's so versatile. I mean, this is a game that was set up for him, to kind of get eaten up with multiple surfaces and, multiple tight ends. You kind of get lost in the running game. He dominated, and I think it goes to show you how tough he is. His leadership's been off the chart. His energy, he's the one that's driving and pushing those guys up front, and can't say enough good things about him.
Over to the right, second row, Dom.
Ryan, obviously it was a very physical football game today. You guys will be entering your second bye. Do you like it coming now, or would you rather keep playing? And when you do come back November, what does November mean to you guys?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the schedule is the way it is, and from the beginning, we talked to our team about the way the schedule played out. So they've expected this. We knew where we wanted to be at this point, and we know we'd come up for air and then talk about that final stretch of 4 games there, and hopefully, we'll go from there. But again, staying locked in on that, and November is the final run. I mean, this is where all the memories are made. This is what it all comes down to. But again, not trying to look too far ahead, just trying to do a great job of getting healthy this week in a bye week. We'll talk about the plan and what we want to do in terms of expectations for next week, and then we get ready to make the last run.
Over to the left, second row, Rob.
Ryan, when you challenge a guy, you've got to know what buttons to push, that whole thing. With J.K., how have you done that? How has Tony done that? And have you been really pleased with how it's gone?
J.K. is the type of guy where if you tell him something, you can scream and yell at him if you want, or you can say it just like this. He's going to do the same thing. He's that kind of a character kid. And has it always been perfect for J.K.? No, but as he's got into this 3rd year, and now you're a veteran on the team, and you understand how things work, and you understand the consequences of each game, and the discipline it takes to prepare yourself to play each week, taking care of your body, preparing, ball security, things like that. Again, I think he's the best running back in the country. When you see him run at the second level, when you see him run with his pads down, taking care of the football, out of the backfield, he's very versatile in everything he can do, and he's running with an edge. And so, again, when you combine that with our offensive line, I think that's why you're seeing special things out of them. Well, that's when they're made of the right stuff. If you challenge somebody and they wilt and they don't respond, then you got to figure out why. But we have a lot of guys where you challenge them, they respond, which is great. I mean, that's a good sign as a coach. There has to be trust there too, that when you challenge them the right way. You can't create resentment, but when they respond like they have, it is a great feeling.
Over to the right, Chuck, third row.
Yeah, you know how to play quarterback yourself. So what do you think are the effects and ripple effects on a quarterback's thinking when there's a presence like Chase?
Ooh, yeah, it's hard. It's real hard. Yeah, you start to feel ghost and see ghost, especially when he's on your backside. Are you getting the ball out fast enough? And then the other part of it is a lot of times they have to put an extra guy in protection. So if they're going to go to 7-man protection, now there's only 3 guys out in the route. And so his impact is felt throughout the game schematically. But also if you're a quarterback and you certainly know he's over there, you want to keep half an eye on him, which certainly affects your game.
Third row left, Nathan.
It's kind of the other side of that, but Justin was obviously kind of banged up today, kind of gritted through that, and then obviously the conditions played a relatively clean game there. So what sort of psychological effect can that have on the rest of the team when he's taking care of that?
Oh, I'll tell you what. I thought he played a tough game. I mean, it may not show statistically, but he had as gritty a game as anybody on our team. He got banged around out there. He needed to make some tough runs against, the best rushing defense in America, and he did early on. And then he cracked. And then he got that 2-minute drive going and threw the ball to Olave, and in the second half kept doing the same thing. And when we couldn't get things going, we had to run him a little bit, and he did it. And he was physical, he was powerful, he kept third downs alive. I thought he played really well in this game, and he played tough, and I'm proud of the way he performed.
Folks, we have time for just 2 more questions. Left, Ari.
Hey, Ryan, I know that you're in a situation right now where you're taking it one day at a time, improvements, all the things that you need to stay focused on, but you've been around a lot of football, a lot of different levels, and I'm wondering, from your perspective, you guys have won every game by 20 or more. It doesn't seem like you've really been tested. No games have been in question of that in the second half. What does that say about a team that can win 8 games in a row the way you guys have won?
Well, I think it shows toughness, and I think it shows our capability. It's one thing I say that, we talk to the guys all the time about how, if you can do it one week, that means you can do it. But can you do it week in and week out? That's what's really hard in college football. It's like March Madness. You can't lose a game. You're not allowed to. So how do you go about doing that? And when you look at our schedule, we feel like we have a good chance about, with everybody in the schedule. But when you put them all together, it becomes a little overwhelming because so many things come into play, like we're talking about distractions or, things that show up, injuries, lack of focus, not getting your energy level up. Whatever those reasons are, not taking care of the football, all it takes is 1 or 2 of those bad things, and you can get yourself jammed up in this game. And so I think so far it's showing that we are playing with discipline, and we're doing a good job week in and week out of preparing the same way. Yeah, I haven't thought much about it. I'm going to sleep good tonight. And this was a tough week for everybody. There was a lot that went into it, and so I'm going to go home and enjoy this, and then we'll come up for air. But we all know all that matters is what happens at the end of the year, and so you can say what you want about rankings, but that doesn't matter if you don't keep winning. And if we keep winning, we're going to be where we need to be.
And final question, back row left, Teddy.
Coach, there was that moment Wisconsin had 4th and 3. Then I think it was Tough Borland who pointed to the center. Remember that?
Yeah, we had a timeout first, yeah.
Yeah, do you think he earned that call by pointing there and
I
something
think,
about him to be aware?
I think the horseshoe got that one. That was loud. I think, Buckeye Nation heard that. We called timeout. We got back out there. They were loud. It was a communication issue, I think, or I'm not sure how it played out, but I know it was real loud. That was as loud as today, as loud as it got, and it was really loud. And that makes it so hard. And I can't thank the support enough. Noon kickoff, rain, they were out there, they were loud, and they helped us in this game big time.
Coach, thank you very much.